Right.
It's his fault not wearing his glasses.
Morning, everyone.
Morning.
All right, well, we starting off with a wrench through in our gears this morning, no camera. For some reason they can't get it to come on. Who has their phone with them?
Everybody.
Who knows how to get to the Sunday school lesson? We'll go that way.
Is it on,
Yeah.
Facebook?
It's on YouTube.
No, it's on Facebook.
Oh, is it?
Our Sunday school lesson, sweetie.
Oh, never mind. I didn't get much.
Y'all don't
sleep
pay
last
attention
night.
to her.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
She woke up senile this morning.
He didn't tell me it was time to go to bed until like 1 o'clock.
You gotta be told what time to go to bed.
I was busy.
Have you found it, Emma?
Yes, God called Moses.
Yep. All right, we're just gonna do it that way. All right, God called Moses, and this week it's Exodus chapters 3 and 4. And how did God call Moses?
Burning bush.
That's right, burning bush. All right. Found it, Tim.
Yeah, what's the title? What does it say? Something
It-
with Jimmy.
Sundays with Jimmy.
Sundays with Jimmy.
That's what we're looking for. Yeah.
It's Sunday mornings.
Sunday morning.
Oh, Sunday morning, okay, well,
Sundays with Jimmy. I looked up Sunday.
I forget whoever, I forgot who I was then.
Sunday mornings with Jimmy.
Yeah,
See, and you called me forgetful.
you are.
Keep him straight, Mr. Jimmy.
I'll make her carry around a copy of our marriage license so she'll know who's talking to her.
I hear you.
So funny.
All right,
Exodus.
God used a burning bush to speak with Moses. And what were the three signs of the burning bush? What three things did God do at the burning bush? He told Moses to throw his staff down, it turned into a snake. He told him to put his hand inside of his cloak, and when he pulled it out, it was turned to leprosy. And he told Moses to turn water into blood. All right. Anyone know what the significance of these three signs are? All right, the staff turning into a snake, that represents Satan and his seed and how sin came into the world. All right, get my glasses on here where I can see. The cobra was a symbol in Egypt. If any of you ever see a picture of the Pharaoh, usually they'll have on their headdress, and right at the very top middle, you'll see a cobra with his fangs sticking out. The Egyptians viewed that as power and authority. That's what they viewed that snake as. All right. The snake turning back into a staff, that represented God having complete authority over Pharaoh and Egypt. And the Egyptians and the Israelites would have known that. And that goes back to knowing a little bit of the history of what you're studying. And we would all benefit from time to time, if we have a spare moment or something, to do a little bit of research on some of the stuff in the Bible. That way, when we get to different things, we know. We kind of have a background on what they thought, what they believed, who they were, how they lived. And that gives us a good idea of what was going on in their life. But he told Moses to put his hand inside of his cloak, and when it came out, it was white with leprosy. And what was leprosy? It's a skin and nerve disease. And it destroys tissue, it destroys nerves. And during this period of time, if you had leprosy, you were supposed to stay away from people because it is very contagious and very painful. But when he removed his hand from his cloak, and it was thank you. You didn't do that? Okay, but anyway, it was a shameful disease, and it was a symbol of the shame that Israel had gone through with the Egyptians. And when he put it back in his cloak and pulled it back out, it was healed. And the healing sign was that even though God's people had been enslaved for centuries, he was about to free them, or about to heal them and free them. And the turning water into blood. And this is the one I had never thought about. And the water into blood represented the genocide of children, because the Egyptians had used the Nile to drown the children of the Israelite people, or the boys. And when the water in the river turned to blood, it was the river reminding the Egyptians of their past wrongdoings. It's God's way of showing the Egyptians that their cruelty, y'all keep dinging and keep making me think there's something going on here. But you remember when Cain and Abel, or when Cain killed Abel, God said his blood cried out to him for justice. This, the river turning into blood, that was the river calling out to God for justice for all of the children that the Egyptians had killed. But that thing works a lot better. All right. When has God asked you to do something bigger than your abilities?
You still gotta tell us, cause it's not on there yet.
So that's a question.
I mean, what page?
I don't tell you questions, I ask you questions.
You're supposed to read my mind, that's not what I was asking.
That's not in our
What
marriage
page, what
vow.
slide?
But, I mean,
The opening question.
yeah. But if you're following on your phone, you could know. But anyway, when has God asked y'all to do something bigger than your abilities? Hey, Brother Don, when you were called to preach, did you think you had the ability?
Come on now.
Still don't.
Same here, standing up here. God gives me these abilities. I didn't have them. Y'all remember the first couple times I teach Sunday school? I was scared. But if God called you to confront a modern Pharaoh, what excuse would you use? You know, we got a lot of Pharaohs in this
I'm a
world.
nobody, he sure ain't gonna listen to me, you know? That's what I would say.
But, I mean, we have a lot of Pharaohs in this world right now. We have a lot of people trying to exert their powers, especially against the church and God's people, trying to silence us, tell us what we can say, when we can say it, how we can say it, and everything else. And We are to stand up to them. And let's get that last one there. All right, the burning bush in Exodus 3:1-6. Moses is shepherding on the backside of the desert. And to me, that just doesn't seem like they're, why would somebody have an animal in the desert?
Right.
But actually, sheep can find something to eat where you think there is nothing to eat. But he sees a burning bush, but it's not consumed. Me, with my morbid curiosity, I would have to go check that one out. I'm the one that everybody gets mad at when I go by an accident, because I have to slow down and look. As probably a lot of y'all are. But God calls him from the burning bush. And you know, Moses, when he walked up there, God spoke to him and told Moses to take his shoes off, that he was on holy ground.
He's trying to update the software or something.
Tell it to stop.
I tried to, I said stop like 3 times, it
My screen keeps going blank.
Your screen doing the same thing mine doing, that's all I'm doing.
Yeah. Anyway,
Hey, it's on your phone or computer.
I know, but I have to sign back into my computer.
Oh, my.
But, Moses covers his face. He is afraid to look at God. Why is he afraid to look at God? The same reason we are. Even though we are Christians, we don't want to look at God, because if we look upon God, it shows us our sins. It makes us feel and look filthy in his presence. No matter how good we think we are, when we stand before God, we're going to feel anything but good. There we go. All right. God identifies himself. I am the God of your father. The Israelites would have known what that meant. And that's the reason I say we need to go back and look at, I think my battery's down. It is. But we need to go, that's the reason we need to go back and look and study the history. If the Bible talks about it, we need to study it. We need to find out about these areas, these countries, these cities, and tribes in those cities. But God has seen Israel's misery in Egypt. Remember, it says that they had cried out to God and he heard them. Just like he's seen their misery, he sees our misery. He knows what is going on in our life. He knows what we need. He knows maybe he needs to put someone in our path that can help us, encourage us. Or maybe they might never say a word, but you might meet someone, and through their lifestyle, they may change your life. And that is the one, as Christians, that we really, really need to pay attention to. Our lives speak louder than our words ever will. God had heard their cries under slavery. God knew they were going into slavery. They were going to spend about 200 years in slavery. And while they were in slavery, every day just about, the Egyptians made their life more and more and more miserable. And the more miserable they got, the more they cried out to God, and God heard them. God has come down to rescue them. God sent Moses to rescue his people. But God is with Moses. That's the reason it said God has come down to rescue them. God sends Moses to Pharaoh to bring Israel out. You have to remember, Moses spent 40 years in the palace. Moses knew Israel in and out. Moses' first excuse in Exodus 3:11. Who am I? That is a very, very common excuse that we use when God calls us to do something. Is who am I? God, get somebody that's more qualified. Get someone who knows more about this. The greatest educator ever is God. Sometimes his education is something that is unpleasant for us, but a lot of times it's unpleasant to us because of the choices we have made in our lives too. I'm a prime example of that one. I have made some pitiful choices in my life.
We all have.
That's right. But you know, God still uses us. And the most comforting thing I've ever heard is he filters in our stupidity before he calls us. God's answer was, I will be with you. And that's the one answer he tells every one of us when he calls us, is I will be with you. If God is for us, who can be against us? All right, God reveals his name in Exodus 3:14 and 15. I am who I am. In this one, this is one where God is not bound by time. He's not bound by space the way we are. That's the reason he said, I am who I am. And the Israelites would know God by that name. I am who I am. And it deals with God's self-existence and unchanging nature. The foundation of all confidence is the big assessment out of this. And his faithfulness is not based on our ability. And us as humans, a lot of times we will base our faithfulness to someone on their ability. Look at people who just really, where did that come from? Y'all understand what I say, okay? But anyway, people that worship athletes, their ability and the faithfulness with which they are worshipped, I mean, it is unreal. Okay. But this right here, this goes to show God in his existence and him not being confined to time. And this is my attempt at a picture. If y'all see this on your phone, this picture, it shows a woman who's just had a baby. And it shows a man laying on his deathbed. Those are the same two people. The same God that was there when they were born is the same God that was there when he dies. And to God, it's like this picture. It's a split scene in one picture. Because with him, time does not matter. Time means nothing to God because he's not controlled by time the way we are. And he can actually be standing there looking at you being born and you on your deathbed at the same time. What was Moses' 5 objections? Who am I? In 3:11. That shows his inadequacy. I can't talk this morning. Who are you? In 3:13. Doubt about God. They won't believe me. That's his fear of rejection. I can't speak well. Lack of confidence. Send someone else. That's his final resistance. And probably our most used excuse with God is send someone else. And what was God's answers to Moses? Staff turned into a serpent, sign of God's power. Hand becomes leprous and heals. It's evidence. Water turns into blood. That's authority. I will be with you and teach you, is what God told Moses. And number 5 is Aaron sent as a helper. And that's partnership with God is what that represents. And if I have a partner, I'd a whole lot rather have it God. What else could you ask for? Sorry, sweetie.
Hey, you're supposed to. God first.
But God's patience and holiness, every day, every one of us, we try God's patience all day, every day. And if we're not thinking it, we're saying it. If we're not saying it, we're doing it. And I can say I am extremely blessed that God is a patient God. Good. You ever been around a kid that kind of gets on that last nerve and just starts doing this on it? That's what we do to God sometimes. God answers every excuse with signs, promises, and help, yet his anger burns when Moses finally says, send someone else. You know, that's the saying, God has his limits. He's patient, but patience run out. How many times have we told the kid, you're getting on my last nerve? God calls in ordinary places. Moses was on a normal work day in the desert, and God called him. No matter where we are or what we're doing, God can call us. The best answer is, here I am. We refrain from saying, send someone else. How might God get your attention in ordinary routines? Might he show you something is wrong? Might he put someone in front of you that might need help? someone that's having a bad day. How many people have a bad day and they turn around and make you have a bad day? Maybe God put them in front of you having a bad day so you could turn their bad day into a good day. I'm gonna say I'm probably guilty of that more than anyone.
I'll second that.
Say, it's unanimous. But I'm not gonna say I'm not a people person. I love dealing with people. But when you give me someone that's hard to deal with, it's like it brings out my bad side too. And yes, I know I need to work on that. But what does taking off your sandals look like in your life, treating certain moments as holy? What does God put in front of you that is a holy moment for you? What does God want you to do with that holy moment? Does He want you to use it for knowledge? Does He want you to use it for helping others? What does He want you to do with it? And how are you treating those moments? God calls today. In what ministries or relationships is God saying, now go, I will help you speak? Who has someone that they have been neglecting to talk to because they need to say things that might be hard to hear, or they might be needing reprimand, or whatever it is? But if God is wanting you to go and speak with them, you need to speak with them. I know this is another Sunday we didn't get through because I can't stop chasing rabbits. But anyway, you cut that off, Brother Knight? Anyway, prayer request. Thank you, sir.